Bula, I'm Wame. Join me every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on The Center Show with classic hits from the 70s as well as the 80s right here on Gold FM.
Tonight, plans to formulate strategy to control leptospirosis, which is costing government millions of dollars each year. Parliament to undergo refurbishment in time for 2014 elections. An international model scout here to recruit next phase for Trump model agency. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and you're watching FBC News. An international experts meeting to control leptospirosis currently underway in Suva has heard that there is no prevailing strategy in Fiji or the region. However, with the results derived from the meeting underway, the government hopes to formulate a national strategic plan on the prevention and control of leptospirosis. As Akosita Tale reports, fighting the disease has been very costly for the government.
Leptospirosis is among Fiji's most common diseases transmitted to people from animals. The Agriculture Ministry's Animal Health and Productions Department says it is known to affect hundreds of people in Fiji. However, the effects on animal production are unknown.
We are planning to restart research into leptospirosis in Fiji on the animal reservoir around human outbreaks in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. This is essential to better focus future public health messages with the aim of reducing the number of human cases.
This can indicate possible interventions such as vaccination in the animal population to reduce human exposure to leptospirosis.
Such interventions must take place at the level of the animal reservoir or the human-animal interface in order to be effective, as there are currently no tools available to directly protect the human population.
Leptospirosis imposes a significant direct and indirect financial burden to the Fiji population.
Although the actual financial burden of this disease is yet to be ascertained, it is estimated that the disease costs the population and the government of Fiji several millions of dollars every year.
Fiji recorded 525 cases of disease and 52 deaths, mostly in the west, following the recent floods in the first quarter last year. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
Those voted into Parliament in 2014 can expect a revamped parliamentary complex. Work is underway to find a suitable design, and as Roland Karoy reports, this is all in the lead-up to elections next year.
Fiji's parliamentary complex was built in the early 1990s.
Since then, it's played host to about 5 different governments and has been vacant for about 7 years. Now, with elections earmarked for September next year, the Bainimarama government has set up a task force to design a more suitable complex.
We have a task force at the moment that's looking at the holistic revamping and rebuilding of the capacity of our parliament. That committee is working at now, looking at the physical infrastructure, the major systems. It's looking at the laws, it's looking at the secretariat, it's looking at the building.
A dollar value for this project will only be known after the design is complete, which according to Colonel Pio Tikonduandua is not far off.
They have submitted an initial report and I've asked them to go back and tarnish it up a little bit more and add a few more comments to it. And I think I'm meeting them tomorrow.
It's been confirmed government will allocate the funds to complete the upgrade in time for the first sitting of Parliament after elections in 2014. Roland Karoy, FBC News.
Fiji is committed to advancing the interests of the developing world, says Prime Minister Vorenge Bainimarama. Speaking at the opening of the China-Beijing International Fair for Trade and Services today, Bainimarama says a top priority must be to help grow the contribution service industries make to the national economies of developing nations. Bainimarama says that for developing nations, there is still much progress to be made in the services sector. He also paid tribute to China's assistance to Fiji when he met President Xi Jinping early in the day. The Ministry of Lands has caught more people undertaking illegal activities on government land, this time in the Central Division. Epeli Tukwasa reports.
Some tenants in the Central Division are being investigated for illegal activities on state land.
Some are subletting their homes, their houses, with high rental fees. And we know that from there that they are illegal. It's not supposed to be done.
The ministry has also found out, like in the West, tenants are violating agricultural leases to use the land for other purposes.
There are some business people subletting their offices, subletting their factories to others, and they are raking in quite a significant amount of money in terms of rental, per month.
Tevita Mosiwanga says these tenants must receive consent from the Lands Department before they can sublet the property.
If not, then we have to penalize them, because the government is losing out on this by not getting a cut or each fair share.
Public consultation in Suva, Nabua and Nosori brought in the reports of illegal activity on leased lands. Epeli Tukwasa, FBC News.
A political party set up by former politicians has been registered under the political party's decree. Registrar of Political Parties Mohammed Sanim says he is satisfied the People's Democratic Party has met the minimum requirements of the decree. The PDP is now able to operate, function, represent and hold itself out to be a political party. It has 30 days to declare all its assets and expenditure as required in the decree. Party officials and candidates will also have to disclose personal incomes, assets, business connections, directorships, gifts and liabilities. After the break, we find out why we're having unusually high tide this time of the year.
How would you like to spend your morning? You could spend your morning like this. Or you could spend it like this.
Tune in to the Morning Ride every weekday morning from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Hit Music.
Nimula methango nimilote na isoro tambua na makia umenarua kinaona na vya moniti kina vakarambuka rongo mena vya sana kina viva ko barota kinin reko malolo ena radio Fiji 1 na wongani vya niano ngai na makia kina.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. Thai-Level North and Wainimboka have been identified as places with the most concerns regarding the affairs of the Ithauke people. It's been revealed today that this is a result of certain letters and communiques questioning the work of the government. Roland Karo with the story.
Officials from the Prime Minister's office have been visiting different communities, informing people of government's work in line with the People's Charter. The man at the helm of these consultations says many people, particularly in the Ithauke communities, have been bombarded with what he calls half-truths.
The letters and the communiques that have been going around seems to suggest that the other constitutions, meaning 1970 and 1997, entrench those provisions that guarantee the rights of Ithauke over land and its chief leadership better than what we are proposing. Now, I'm saying that's not true.
Colonel Pio Tikondua says there were also those who were working for themselves.
Because, as you know, people have used, particularly Thai-Level North and the Wainimboka, as a region, as a space to enhance their own political motives. What we're telling the people, please understand that these people are only trying to get this effect out of them.
Consultations on the People's Charter have ended, and according to Colonel Tikondua, the response has been great.
As for those that have tried to undermine the work of the government, Tiko Nondua is confident that their visits to these communities have clarified numerous issues, evident by what he says was an air of content shown by the people upon their departure. Roland Koroi, FBC News.
People living in low-lying coastal areas are urged to be cautious as they could experience damaging heavy swells up to 5 meters tomorrow. Director Meteorology Alipate Wangavelua says coastal areas facing south should be forewarned as the rough seas are combing with exceptionally high tides, sometimes referred to as king tides.
Particularly during high tide, this impact is going to be a lot worse because high tide is up to about 2 meters. And we're now estimating swells of about 5 meters. So we're looking at total 7 or even more, particularly over the southern coastlines of the islands in Fiji.
Villagers in low-lying and coastal areas are urged to take necessary precautions. It's that time of the year when alignment of the sun and the moon causes exceptionally high tides, sometimes called king tides. While they're not any real threat, they can cause problems. Chanel Sivan explains.
King tides occur occasionally due to an alignment that increases the gravitational pull of the moon and sun on the earth. This isn't a danger for the country, but it can cause flooding in low-lying areas, especially in times of heavy rain. In some rare instances, such expectationally high tides can cause flooding, such as causing Nambukalau Creek to overflow into Greg Street. Sometimes water even enters the nearby shops.
Now, at the time of the high tide, those swells will ride up over the beach and come up onto the villages close to the beach, roads, the South Coast Road around the Coral Coast, those low-lying villages, Kandavu, Benga.
For the past few days, we've seen lots of high tide in Fiji. Not a big worry, but it could be a big problem in the low-lying areas.
When the moon is full there, and when the tides are at their strongest. When you have the half moon, that's when the tides are actually at their lowest, relatively speaking. But right now with the moon full, very close to full, at this phase now, that's when we see particularly high tides over Fiji.
So if you were wondering about the unusually high water level, now you know. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Internationally renowned model scout Dwayne Gatsi is in the country. He's a top talent scout for the Trump Modeling Management. He was at the FBC this afternoon for a casting call looking for their next supermodel. Chanel Sivan with the details.
The Trump agency is one of the most formidable in the world, representing Vogue favorites Enya Spoliet, Diana Petits, as well as industry legends Jerry Hall and Cheryl Teagues. Ghazi says he looks for something special.
Honestly, it's something that Eileen Ford famously called the X Factor. Obviously tall, beautiful, but somebody with that extra special thing that's something that you almost can't put into words, which is why we use the word X Factor, because it's something kind of indescribable.
More than 50 men and women showed up at the broadcasting house this afternoon for a chance to work in New York.
Our models are global. They're from everywhere. They're from Africa, they're from South America, and why not from Fiji? So if we find someone on this trip, we would actually have them come to New York, work on their book, get a portfolio together, sign them to a contract, and begin promoting them to our clients.
One of these girls or boys could be the next big thing for Fiji on the international stage. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Time for sports now. Jamie, what's the latest?
Well, lots of rugby for starters. We have an update of Fiji's opening PNC game this Saturday against Japan. And Fiji police are in preparation for the Forces Rugby League World Cup, whom I might add are also the defending champions. Find out more after the break.
Bola. Oya wasala bilawa. Do pata ki au mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single boni moniti kina varumbuka. Kako ni valatana no musini sari. Na kai samariando loloma lene vani ni nau. Omgori ke de mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single boni moniti kina varumbuka. Ena Bula FM number 2 ena sere.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू वही आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on Ghar Sansar, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.
Welcome back here with FBC Sports. The Flying Fijians must make every game count if they don't want to slip further down the IRB World Rankings. Fiji is currently 14th after Canada's win over USA in the Pacific Nations Cup. Also adding to their low ranking are the lack of test matches being played. The road to getting back into the top 10 will be hard, but it starts with Japan on Saturday. Shelvin Chand reports.
The Flying Fijians captain Akapu Singera knows too well the pressure the players are under.
We just want to come up with a win on Saturday in order to improve on our world ranking and get a roll into the PNC tournament.
Fiji's weakness is general forward play, where the team has coughed up possession and points.
That's one point that we are working on this week from Monday when we march into camp. We just work on our scrumsing, on our set pieces, because we know we've got the flair on the backs. For as long as we get a good ball from the forwards, from the line out, or from the scrum, our backs can do miracles and wonders out there on the field.
Netani Talei was part of the PNC team last year, and he is aware of what to expect from their opponents.
Basically we just need to play our game plan. We've been given a game plan, and it's just how we execute it at the end of the day. We've got a really good back line, and the forwards, we need to give the back line a good clean ball, and like I said, at the end of the day, it's who wants it the most.
The question that remains now is, can the Flying Fijians put to practice what they have been learning? The Japan game will be an indicator on how much Fiji has improved from last year. Shelvin Chand, FBC Sports.
The last time Fiji and Japan played at Churchill Park, Japan shocked the home team with a 24-13 win. With their work cut out for them this Saturday, the Cherry Blossoms go into the match with a fair idea of what to expect from the Flying Fijians, but aren't underestimating them. Shelvin Chand again.
Japan's forwards are regarded as one of the most mobile packs in the world, and they're sure to try and get as much advantage in this area of play as possible.
I think we lost by 4 points, so I think our chances are pretty good. But you can't underestimate the Fiji team. They can score tries from pretty much anywhere. So I think our defense will be tested, and if we can keep the ball, I think we can score some tries.
The Cherry Blossoms also realize Fiji's attacking potential and know how to stop them.
We just need to hold on to the ball as long as we can, because if they have the ball, they can score, and if they don't, they can't. That's what we'll be focusing on this week, I think, yeah.
The loss at the hands of Tonga has allowed Japan to work on their areas of weakness.
Well, against Tonga, we dominated the scrum, dominated the line out, but we were beaten at the breakdown, and I'm sure Fiji are going to try to be physical in that area, so it's an area that we've been working on.
Whenever the two teams clash, there is entertaining rugby, and with the weather in the west getting better, this Saturday promises rugby fans another stellar game. Shelvin Chand, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the Fiji police team has only a month left to prepare for the defense of the Forces Rugby League World Cup in England. Just like their national union brothers, it's going to be a tight playing schedule in July, with the side first taking on Australia, then hosts Great Britain. Elena McDonald reports.
As defending champions of the Forces Rugby League World Cup, Fiji is confident they've done all they can to successfully defend their title.
Our preparation has been online, and we've been doing well for preparation. We've also been testing out our combinations in the Vodafone Cup, and we've got a good squad that is preparing at the moment.
It may only be Fiji's second showing in the World Cup, but having won the top prize on their debut year, this time around will be harder.
I'm very happy with what we've got at the moment. Compared to 2008, we went in as just to fill in for the competition. But the time has moved on and the game has grown. And I'm aware of that, and taking into consideration the preparation phase that we're doing at the moment.
Plus, for the Fiji Police Force outfit going to England, having national squad members included could come in handy for a strong performance.
We've got some resident players. We've got the likes of Samuel Konanitu, we've got Atu Naisa Turangaviu, Joe Katonimbau, Metusela Volabola. They are in our current residents team. Plus we've got former residents players too that are in.
July 5th they face Australia, Then 3 days later, they take on hosts Great Britain, which will be looking to cause an upset. But this side seems ready for anything. After all, they've had the will to prepare for the win for almost half a year now. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
Other Ravulo will be Fiji's wildcard to the Volcom Fiji Pro Surfing Championship in Tavarua this year. The news straight from the island confirmed the Nandunga lad qualified ahead of fellow local Issei Tokovo after trials held at Cloudbreak today.
Fiji Surfing Association, but the people that run the competition today, they want to refer back to the Fiji Surfing Association or John.
At last year's championship, Tokovo bowed out in the first elimination when going up against 11-time world champion Kelly Slater. Now it's others' chance to shine next week when competition gets underway in the West. He proved his potential as the Pacific's best after winning gold at last year's Pacific Games in New Caledonia. Well, let's see whether he can step it up a notch against the world's best on this ASP leg. That wraps up Sports for tonight. Good evening.
Good news for employees of Airports Fiji Limited. They will receive a bonus payout in their next pay. The total payment, which is around $380,000, covers the financial year ending 31st December 2010. As Christopher Chand reports, the AFL management believes the bonus will further strengthen their working relationship with staff.
In the last 2 years, AFL recorded its highest profit in history. This financial performance has led to the 4% bonus payout for over 500 staff. AFL recorded an after-tax profit of $8.7 million in 2010.
We always want to work with our employees, our staffs, to ensure that there is a win-win partnership. And this is one way where we show that for your hard work, AFL is recognizing that and rewarding you.
While this bonus will apply to all staff across the board, the AFL management is looking at changing its bonus payout structure from this year.
This is more across the board for 2010, and from 2013 we will not have any across the board system. As we had said earlier, it will be more performance based, so we're still trying to get that in place.
AFL employees are overwhelmed with the news.
Been a while. I can't remember when was the last time we received the bonus. This is a big plus.
It's a blessing to all of the workers in AFL. This will build up our teamwork.
It will inspire workers to work more hard and to achieve the goals that's been set by the company and the board of directors.
With staff morale running high, the AFL management remains confident of another successful financial year, which will mean more returns to the government as well as its employees. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
It's that lovely time again. Our weather girl joins us. Jen, tell us how the weather's looking.
Well, Jackie, here I was looking forward to things clearing up today. But alas, it was not to be. Suva, Lambasa and Savusavu were all affected by rain and thunderstorms, while the west had showers throughout the day. Jumping over the temperatures now, Lambasa was on 32 today, the highest again, with Lautoka, Ba and Nandi on 26 degrees. There's a forecast for large waves along the southern shore tomorrow. Me thinks it would be a good idea for those on the south side to be extra cautious. Clouds and showers are also expected throughout the country, Rotuma being the exception, with fine weather apart from a few brief showers. Mohammed Yaqub sent in this beauty, there it is, taken off beautiful Fulanga Island in the Lao group. Kanaka Mohammed, your efforts were rewarded tonight with the photo of the day. Cheers for the company, everyone. Until I pop up again on screen, be sure to stay safe and stay smiling.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. And a quick look at our main stories. Plans to formulate strategy to control leptospirosis, which is costing government millions of dollars each year. Parliament to undergo refurbishment in time for 2014 elections. An international model scout here to recruit next phase for Trump model agency. On to our poll question now, and we ask, should Fiji have a new national anthem? Visit www.fbc.com.fj to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. That's all from us tonight. Until tomorrow, Modemanda.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है, 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली वेणु। सुनते रहिए मिर्च एफएम। मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।